Hi guys, this is AruvaChan, and as you can probably tell, I'm going to be working in sort of a different style today. And I know my last video was also in this style, so if you recognize it from that video, good job! This is my kind of painting style, and the literally the only place you can do this kind of painting style is like with oils and sometimes acrylics or digital, and that's kind of what I'm doing. And I am going to talk to you guys a little bit today about working with different styles and experimenting with new styles, and I kind of wanted to show that off with me working with my own style and me kind of experimenting with my own style, and how you guys can kind of change up your art style if your art is kind of feeling, not great. So I have a little spiel. Have you ever felt like your art is meh? Do you want to improve, but you don't know how? Have you been doing studies and or drawing nonstop, but feel like you're not getting any better? Why not try a different art style? So, everybody knows that change in your art is very hard, but a shift in your art style can really help you see how your stuff can improve and how unique you draw stuff. A lot of people don't notice, but they do have their own art style and the way they draw. And just because it looks like something you watch or something you are, currently interested in does not mean you do not have your own sense of style. And people trying to invent their style or find their style will notice that their style, or maybe they don't, their style is so much different than everyone else's and other artists, and that is the style you work in. So what you want to do is find or create a new style, and there's tons of ways to find or create a new style. Some quick and easy ways you can change up your style are with your OC, pick something on them to exaggerate. And I don't mean like, make their body the size of a pea and their head the size of Mount Olympus or something. I mean, take something and draw it with more detail. You could probably draw your person with a giant head and a small body and people would be like, oh, it's like the dog. Take something off your OC and make it more important. Like if your OC has big eyes, exaggerate the eyes, make them even bigger. This is very common in sort of cute styles where the eyes are often much, much bigger than any other part of their face because they want to exaggerate how cute they are, or they want to emphasize the eyes. So that's something that they focus on. People also will do this with hands. Like if somebody has larger hands or larger longer legs, there's definitely like a variation of style where there are girls who have very long legs and short bodies and circle heads, and it's very much like the cool kind of indie way to draw girls, and that's a different style that you can pick from. And if you pick something to make smaller or larger, whether it's the eyes, the hands, the head, the shoes, you will see a shift in your art style. Maybe you won't like that shift, or maybe you will feel uncomfortable, but it's a good change in what you already do. Unless you already do this kind of stuff, then you're not doing anything. You're not making any progress. If you're having trouble finding something to exaggerate about your character, or you really aren't interested in looking deep down into your own kind of art style, try looking at other artists and see what they do to make their styles unique. So there are a ton of artists who will draw in varying different styles, and this is the great thing about the internet, is you can find millions of different artists. Maybe not millions, but tons of different artists who draw in varying styles, and there's even a ton on YouTube. Everybody has their own kind of unique way that they paint or they draw or they make, this could apply to anything. They make sculptures. Like, there's so many different styles of things. And you can literally Google or YouTube different art styles or artists, and you're definitely going to come up with something. But you should definitely look into trying to find another artist to kind of base your experimentation off of their stuff. Like Lavender Town. She has a very exaggerated, cartoony art style, and it's very easy for you to just pick right up. It's very easy for you to just draw like that. And it might not be easy at first, but after a few attempts, you can most likely draw the kind of style that she has. And that's what I kind of mean about experimenting. Like, you want to see what makes your style different from everybody else's. And to do that, you kind of have to throw your own art into that style and see what you've got going on versus what they've got going on. And this can all show you that, drawing with another artist's art style is a great way to push yourself out of your comfort zone, and it's not really pushing you to the extreme. It's not pushing you too hard. In fact, there's actually a really fun challenge where you have to draw your OC in other artists' art style, and, you can try that with your OCs. And if you're having trouble, there are a ton of different art styles that you can choose from, and a lot of the videos that you'll find on YouTube will be of very popular mainstream art styles, like Tim Burton. Tim Burton's a very popular kind of defined art style because everybody knows that art style. It's the creepy, kind of edgy looking art style where everything is black and very muted colors. Or Sailor Moon, where every girl is long and every boy is long, and the colors are, still semi-muted, but they're still very nice, and it's the way they draw eyes is different than, say, Tim Burton. So you get to see the differences in those. And another one is Studio Ghibli and, comic book style. But there are so many others. And this kind of thing is actually really popular to do, and it's a lot of fun seeing how you can change your OC to fit in that style. But maybe you aren't really interested in drawing in somebody else's style. Maybe you're just trying to do something new, and everything feels boring. Like, you enjoy your art style, but your stuff is kind of looking meh, or, sad or tired. You can try a different medium. I know right now I am painting in Photoshop, and that was something that I didn't usually do. I didn't usually paint in digital style, but one of my friends was like, hey, Photoshop's actually really good for, painting. So I was like, maybe I'll try that. And it actually I really enjoy it. I really enjoy how the style I paint in on Photoshop is. And it helps that I have different brushes to experiment with. This is actually my favorite brush. It's a triangle. But you can try different mediums. And this isn't really a different medium for me because it is digital art, but it is a different style. And I don't usually paint like this. I usually line art and cell shade and then soft shade and then my picture is done. But this, I'm literally molding from nothing, and it's amazing. You aren't limited to drawing in another person's style or a different style than your own when you are experimenting with style changes. You can take your style from what it is and draw it in a different way on the computer or in real life. This would be like changing how you create your pieces. Like, for me, I think this is kind of a nice step down out of my art style, not a giant leap out of my art style, because this is how I would paint in real life if I used, say, oils or acrylics, and just because it is digital makes it easier on me. I don't have to work as hard to make everything look amazing or, you know, just finished. I can just enjoy the process. This kind of mentality can bring a change to your actual style too. And this can change how you create your pieces. Like, I'm not cel shading in this piece, and that's okay. I really enjoy that, and I think the piece came out really nice in the end, and I'm still really happy with it. But it is still my style. And if you are working in something like charcoal or pen or pencil, you're gonna find that your drawings are nice, and if you enjoy your style, you know, make sure that you're doing that kind of stuff still when you're going to paint, but your art may lack something and when you're trying to do stuff in the same style, so try a different medium. And I know that when I work in acrylics or watercolor, it's very much different from, say, this, and the only difference is I have more ease of access with this. Because the style that I've adapted for my digital art works as digital because I don't have to erase, or I can erase very quickly if I'm trying to improve on something, or if I'm trying to, you know, erase a mistake. I can just swipe a color and it'll erase everything. Like, I have my background is purple. I would swipe the color purple over wherever I needed to erase, and you've probably seen it a few times. I swiped the color magenta where I needed to fix something. And that can apply in real life. It just takes a lot longer for your stuff to dry and you can't really work with it. But this isn't how I paint with watercolors. When I paint with watercolors, it's semi-similar to this, but it's not the same. And I find myself enjoying my style when I paint with watercolors versus my style when I paint digitally or when I paint with acrylics. I have less control over how it turns out, and this is probably not a good thing. I know it's probably not a good thing, but it makes me feel better about my art. And practicing a new medium is difficult, and I know this, and I'm sure everybody else knows this. It requires a lot of time and energy, and you need to devote yourself to the practice of this. And I know for me, I don't practice watercolor or acrylic too often, and I sure as heck don't do oil painting or clay or anything like that. I hate working in oils because it takes so long to dry and gets everywhere, which means I probably should be doing it. I don't know. I'll get there eventually. I'm not there yet. I will get there eventually. When you're working with a different medium, your art is similar, but you are working around an obstacle, and the obstacle is you don't have an undo button. That's the biggest reason why I don't paint in watercolors most of the time, because when I make videos, I have to undo because a lot of my stuff I make mistakes or I'll have to fix, and if you are working traditionally, it takes a very long time to fix a mistake. Especially in watercolors. When you're doing watercolors, you are supposed to leave the areas that you want white. You're supposed to leave them that color. You're not really supposed to use the color white in your watercolor palette because literally it doesn't work. Like, if you ever tried to use white watercolor, it doesn't, like, there's nothing happening. So you have to work around the obstacles in the kind of field that you are working in. So you are literally having to learn how to redo your own style in another medium. And it's very nice. It's very fun. It's very relaxing. And I would absolutely recommend. But it's hard. It's very hard. You have to really dedicate yourself to wanting to learn that. And even if you only, dedicate an hour every couple months to it, that's still better than nothing. And I know if I could figure out how to watercolor on my computer, I would totally, because I absolutely enjoy how I create stuff in watercolors. I know my traditional stuff has more of a light feeling, whereas my digital stuff may come across as heavy or, you know, thicker, because I use a lot of different colors and I use a lot of bright colors. I know I absolutely love how bright I can make stuff on the computer, because when I'm working with traditional, I use a lot of watercolors and I don't really like acrylics, so when I use my watercolors I have to do stuff that's more watered down, literally. So all of my stuff usually comes out as more pastel, and I still really enjoy that. I try to bring that into my kind of style whenever I can, but it's never the same as when you're doing it traditional. I can't use the undo button when I do traditional stuff, so it really is helpful with you learning how to define your own style. But it's also fun trying to figure out how to just do stuff normally in, you know, a different style. It's very fun, and if you have not thought about experimenting, you definitely should. And, you know, it's kind of what you need to figure out on your own. I'm fairly confident with how I draw stuff and how I paint stuff, but I could always figure out a different way to paint, and I could always try to experiment. And as you try different mediums, you know, it doesn't have to be watercolor, it could be acrylic, oils, or even like mud for all that matters, but your art will improve and experiment the more you begin to understand your art, and the more you begin to understand yourself. I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please leave a like, and if you like me, please subscribe. I have a Discord down in the description where you can post all of your art and your different art styles, and you can even talk to me sometimes. I'm usually on there. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!